Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll continue looking at the 2014 immunization schedules for children 0 through 18 years of age. Here is the list of the immunization work group. We have two of the new members joining us, Cindy Pellegrini and Allison Kemp, and you see our liaison reps as well as consultants here. The reason that we're presenting to you this morning is for the ACIP approval of the proposed schedule prior to publication in MMWR January 2014. Also, we harmonize with the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Family Practice, and the American College of OB/GYN, who also approved the proposed schedules prior to the January 2014 publications. And as you might imagine, we were all a little stunned by the government shutdown, thinking we were not going to make January 2014 publication, but it looks like because of the amazing Commission Corps people who were still here, who continued to move the ball forward, and then on return, the staff who worked at, as Trekkies call it, warp speed to make sure we got this far, we are going to probably make it. Let me remind you that new policy is not established in the proposed schedule. The schedule recommends only the recommendations that have been already approved by ACIP. So to provide you with background information, one of the people who returned at warp speed, Dr. Beysolow.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins, and good morning, everyone. As in previous years, the Child Adolescent Immunization Schedule Work Group began the year by reviewing the schedule that was published in February of 2013 in MMWR. Over the course of the year, monthly work group calls were held with the goal of improving the clarity and readability of the footnotes in the catch-up table. For the remainder of this presentation, I'll discuss proposed edits to some specific vaccine footnotes as well as to the catch-up table. As Dr. Jenkins just mentioned, the goal of the work group is not to make new recommendations, but rather to attempt to translate the respective ACIP recommendations into language that is easy to interpret by the busy provider. In the interest of time, only those vaccines with significant changes will be addressed this morning. ACIP members have the full set of footnotes as well as updated figures in a document dated 10/22/13. It's a 3-page document in your binders that you can refer to, and the language on that most closely matches what's on the slide presentation today. Here's a snapshot of Figure 1, the routine schedule for persons 0 through 18 years of age. The only change that's being proposed to the figure for 2014 is the change here in the starting age for MCV4 CREM down to 2 months from 2 years of age. With Figure 2, the catch-up immunization schedule, edits are being proposed to the Tdap, Pneumococcal, and Meningococcal rows. And I'll discuss these edits as I discuss the respective vaccines. Arrows have been introduced to help guide the provider along in the schedule where appropriate. Now onto the footnotes. For hepatitis B vaccine, only minor changes were made in yellow to clarify the timing of hepatitis B immunoglobulin for a subset of infants born to Hep B surface antigen positive mothers. Again, in an attempt to make it easy for the busy provider, the work group proposes that once generic names and trade names are referenced in the title of each vaccine footnotes, as shown here, then the trade name alone could be used in the body of the footnotes. So this is exemplified here with the rotavirus vaccine footnotes. Under the catch-up vaccination section of Tdap vaccine, footnotes have been enhanced to include further information on vaccination of persons 7 years and older with a single lifetime dose of Tdap vaccine, except for pregnant adolescents. And also language from the 2006 recommendations on inadvertent administration of DTaP vaccine in persons 7 years and older was also included. To assist the provider, language was added to the TDAP row of the catch-up schedule to clarify that as a provider follows the table, we're referring to DTaP or DT vaccine in certain places. And you can see a more close-up version on this slide, and the words DTaP and DT were inserted. For HIP vaccine, clarification was provided for routine doses of HIP vaccine, both for the primary series and booster doses, mainly for consistency in language across the vaccine footnotes. Similarly, language was clarified for HIP vaccine catch-up. And again, all of this is consistent with what's in the ACIP published recommendations. In February of this year, ACIP voted to accept the following updates to a soon-to-be-published HIP vaccine ACIP recommendation statement. The language that's depicted in this slide and the next slide regarding the vaccination of high-risk groups have been inserted into the footnotes for HIP vaccines. So this table, as well as this table, were voted on by ACIP in February of this year. And what we've attempted to do here on the schedule is to match that language presented in February. Because this information was presented in detail at the February meeting, I'll only mention that it refers to vaccination of children aged 12 through 59 months of age at increased risk of disease who are incompletely vaccinated with HIP vaccine. This includes patients with asplenia and HIV infection, as shown on this slide. The footnotes also include HIP vaccine recommendations for recipients of hematopoietic stem cell transplant and persons who have undergone chemotherapy or radiation treatment. Lastly, the footnotes also address vaccination of unimmunized persons anticipating elective splenectomy and unimmunized persons 5 years and older who are at increased risk. To help clarify the HIP catch-up table even further, there were additions made to two of the columns, as you'll see more clearly on the next slide. Additions were made to the two columns shown on this slide, and this was really done just to help clarify the timing of a dose of HIP vaccine based on the patient's age at the time and their prior history of HIP vaccination. Moving on to pneumococcal vaccine, clarification was made that we are referring to PCV13 vaccine in the routine and catch-up sections for all children, primarily because we put all the pneumococcal vaccines into one footnote. In the next three slides, including this one, you'll see where the entire section on vaccination of persons with high-risk conditions with PCV13 and PPSV23 was rewritten to provide clarity on which patients are to receive both vaccines, not only based on age and risk factor, but also when these doses should be administered. Again, this information is directly from the ACIP pneumococcal vaccine recommendations that are published in the 2010 MMWR edition. An attempt was made to separate out the different risk groups by age. So as shown here, this bullet references children 24 through 71 months of age with high-risk conditions. Defines them, and then these are the vaccine recommendations for those children, saying how many doses of PCV13 or PPSV23 they would need. Next, for children 6 through 18 years of age, there are two separate set of recommendations. The first set is for persons in this age group at highest risk for disease, specifically those immunosuppressed secondary to either disease or treatment. And then recommendations for children also in this same age group, 6 through 18, with other conditions that put them at risk, but they're not at highest risk, as in the prior slide. And these are immunocompetent children with chronic illness. And these children, the recommendations for these children are addressed in the top bullet. The bullet at the bottom addresses revaccination recommendations, i.e. those persons who should receive a second dose of PPSV 23. Similarly, with the hip vaccine catch-up section on the catch-up schedule, the same was done for pneumococcal vaccine. Language was added again to specify who should receive additional doses based on the child's current age. For influenza vaccines, because the schedule will span 2 influenza seasons, providers are referred to the respective ACIP vaccine recommendations for that season for guidance on dosing for children 6 months through 8 years of age. Hepatitis A vaccine footnotes were also updated to include the list of persons at high risk for Hep A disease as delineated in the ACIP Hep A vaccine recommendation statement. Over the course of the last year, we've received numerous questions from providers regarding inclusion of the minimum intervals between doses for HPV vaccine, and so this information has been included in the bullets as shown here for HPV vaccine. And then lastly, we just have the results of the vote for meningococcal vaccine for the use of MCV4 CREM down to 2 months of age. And so this meant that we had to update our language for meningococcal vaccine in high-risk infants. And so as we just heard in the previous presentation, MenACYW CREM was licensed down to age 2 months by FDA in August, and ACIP has now voted to recommend this vaccine for certain persons 2 months and older at high risk. Because of the varying vaccine options now available to providers, the working group felt that it would be best to separate out this information based on risk factor, as there are different recommendations based not only on age of the patient, but also risk factor, and also which vaccine could be used for that particular patient. And so the following 4 slides are an attempt to do so based on the current recommendations that we have. So this slide addresses children with asplenia, including sickle cell disease. And so the language here should match what is depicted in the presentation you just heard on meningococcal vaccines. The next section will deal with or address children with persistent complement component deficiency and all the various recommendations and depending on which vaccine is used. This section addresses travelers to countries in which meningococcal disease is hyperendemic or epidemic, as well as children at risk during a community outbreak. Catch-up recommendations in persons with high-risk conditions are also addressed. Based on today's vote, the working group will make revisions as necessary based on feedback that we received from you today and from clearance through CDC. The document will then be submitted to MMWR for editing, and the final edited copy will be presented to partner organizations in early January 2014. And as Dr. Jenkins mentioned, we hope to proceed with publication at the end of January of 2014. So before we move on to discussion and vote, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of the subject matter experts for their support, their endless patience with the rewrites and edits during the entire year, as well as to the Childhood Schedule Work Group, the ACIP members, our liaison representatives, and to our consultants for their endless support. And internally as well to the staff in the Education, Information, and Partnership Branch for their support, Melissa Barnett for helping with all the graphics, and to Dr. Ray Strickus for holding everything down during the shutdown for us. Lastly, I wanted you to, just to remind you, we presented this information last year that CDC now offers a service called content syndication. We know that inevitably, despite our best efforts, there may be errors that are caught or updates needed to the schedules after publication. And by using this feature in your organization, whenever schedules are updated, immediately the schedules on your site are updated. And so this lessens your time and removes that consuming process of checking the CDC website for any updates. So if you visit the CDC website, you can get more information on signing up for this feature. Thank you, and I'll end now and open up for discussion.
Any comments? Dr. Kemp.
Yeah, I have a question about the pneumococcal vaccine footnotes number 4, and I should have seen this earlier since I'm on the working group, but I think the asthma, since this is a common thing, obviously, in childhood, I think we might need to be clear about what's meant by asthma if treated with high-dose oral corticosteroid therapy. Is that chronic? I mean, because lots of kids get intermittent high-dose corticosteroid therapy, and I think that is going to be confusing.
Okay.
See a comment from Dr. Sawyer?
Yeah, I similarly have a question about pneumococcal vaccine footnote 4. Alcoholism, chronic liver disease, and cigarette smoking seem to have come into this list, and at least for cigarette smoking, as I recall, the data presented in the vote and discussion at prior ACIP meetings, it was restricted to adults 19 and above. So do I just get clarification if those groups are now included for children?
Right, with the recent publication in June of this year for 6 to 18-year-olds, those indications are listed on that table as well.
I think that brings up a larger point, and my bias is because I see patients from birth to senescence, but occasionally it's just the language in here. Sometimes it overlaps with adult schedule and so on, and it's just a plea for that to be kind of consistent. For example, under the pneumococcal, for the asplenics or the sickle cell, it might be worthwhile to provide guidance as to what happens after they turn 19. If they've already had two PPSV 23s, providing some guidance out there where to go from that. Those are the type of questions I get. And similarly, in the hepatitis A footnotes, we have persons who work with HIV-infected primates. Not too many children are going to be in that situation, but just so we have kind of that consistency. You do such a good job of being so inclusive, and we're just hitting you with some really little nuances here.
Okay, we'll take it back to the work group, and that has been area of discussion as to what to include that would probably be included in the adult schedule, and where do we stop. So, thank you.
Dr. Lett.
Hi, thank you, Yavo. And I'm also on the group, and I also noticed something that I hadn't noticed before, and it's in the hepatitis B footnote. I guess I didn't remember that we had changed, if you had gotten a combination vaccine, that 4 doses is permitted. And I think in the 2013 schedule it says recommended, and
yes,
I didn't catch that in the last conference call, and so I guess I'd like to just maybe pose that we go back to recommended, because I think it's really important to make people feel comfortable about that it's safe to give 4 doses.
Yes, we discussed this earlier on in the year, probably between the February and April work group meeting calls. And the reason for that, because a provider actually pointed to us, there are a couple of nuances or instances where you would not actually have to give that dose. So that's why we changed to permitted versus recommended. So it's not true to be recommended in all instances. So we can talk later,
Okay.
also I can give you an example of that.
Dr. Bikini.
So I hesitate to bring this up because it wasn't a change from last year, but related again to the hepatitis B vaccine footnotes, and I don't think you have it here because it wasn't a change. It's the doses following the birth dose.
I just didn't include everything on the slide, only the area that had changed.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the third bullet, it indicates the minimum interval between dose 1 and 2 is 4 weeks, and between dose 2 and 3 is 8 weeks. So that would potentially, if you followed that, give the third dose 12 weeks after the first. When the next sentence is the final third or fourth dose in the series should be administered no earlier than 24 weeks and at least 16 weeks after the first dose. And so I think that somewhat confusing and then gives some different data, but the catch-up schedule says it really nicely in a single sentence or phrase, which is dose 2 to dose 3, 8 weeks and at least 16 weeks after the first dose. Minimum age for final dose is 24 weeks. So if you just replace that with what's in the catch-up schedule, I think it would make better sense.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Pickering.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, although the content syndication is really critical, particularly with AAFP and AAP, have they signed on to the content syndication, meaning that they would have the website linking to the ACIP recommendations, so that when changes are made in the ACIP recommendations here, they're automatically, those changes would be incorporated into what members of those two societies see. So the question is content syndication a go with AAP and AAFP?
I will check with our web developers, but I know they were offered that at the end of last year with Kathy. Yeah, they were definitely, emailed directly and offered that service.
So, Dr. Lair?
Pneumococcal footnote 3, if PPSV 23 has been received but PCV 13 has not, administer one dose at least 8 weeks after the most recent dose of PPSV 23. That's different than the recommendation for adults. I'm wondering if we have data for either of those different recommendations, or if we...
This is footnote, slide 3 that's shown here. Right, it is different, but I know this was discussed extensively during the pneumococcal deliberations maybe a year or two ago, that the recommendations are different for children and for adults, so I would defer to someone from the pneumococcal work group if they could, further discuss that, but the childhood recommendations state this, and the adults are different. It's a year, as you mentioned.
Yes, Dr. Middleman.
I just want to, this is Middleman from SAM. I just want to reiterate something that Dr. Sawyer had mentioned. The footnote regarding and including the change in the table, perhaps I missed it, but I wasn't aware of evidence presented about smoking in this age group, and this potentially could include a large number of adolescents who smoke cigarettes and would then be obligated to the polysaccharide vaccine, which of course we know has greater issues of hyporesponsiveness and potentially will have effects in terms of response later. I just would like to point it out and perhaps mention it as a future point of discussion in terms of including that in the table.
Mr. Decker.
So I'm concerned about the first complete orange line that says repeat doses of Tdap are not recommended except for the pregnant adolescent during every pregnancy. And I believe I understand what's intended there, which was to reflect the ACIP vote based on the pharmacoeconomics and so on, that a repeat booster of Tdap wasn't warranted as a universal recommendation. But I'm concerned that that phrasing will be interpreted by the user community as meaning that it's a bad thing to give another dose of Tdap. And there's plenty of situations where it's clearly a good thing to give another dose of Tdap, which might be based on an outbreak in the school or the fact you're trying to cocoon around a newborn or something else. So I'm wondering if it wouldn't better reflect the totality of ACIP's desires if that sentence were something like, repeat doses of Tdap are not routinely recommended, except for the pregnant, adolescent, blah, 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 but may be considered based on local circumstances or provider or parental preference. Something that leaves the door open for people to use good judgment, rather than having it being interpreted as bad things happen if you give another dose of Tdap. Because that's the way this will be interpreted.
As we mentioned earlier, the schedules can only reflect what are actual ACIP recommendations, and ACIP recommendations are for a single dose of Tdap per lifetime for everyone except for pregnant women.
Well, that's why I'm addressing my question to the ACIP, which is the groups in front of me.
It's something that can go back, I think, to the pneumococcal work group. Or TDAP, I'm sorry, the pertussis work group, sorry. Dr. Rubin.
Yes, just one more on the meninge footnote 5 page, and that's the sentence, if Menhibrix is administered, all 4 doses should be administered to achieve protection against Hib disease. But this sentence is in the context of catch-up. So if you're taking a 9-month-old who's now got Hib vaccine, then 4-dose schedule is not appropriate to get protection against Hib, a lesser number of doses. So perhaps that line should just be, perhaps just deleting that line.
Okay. More to complete the series rather than the number of doses.
Right, because it's a nuance depending on age, how many doses you get, and before or after 12 months of age and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Pickering.
Yeah, one of the things that we may want to clarify somewhere with now the e-cigarettes that are being promoted heavily where there's no smoke, might want to clarify that the statement is, I assume pneumococcal recommendations do not apply to people who smoke those things.
Other discussion? Okay, I guess we can call the question here. Do we have anybody willing to make a proposal? We adopt Dr. Bocchini.
I move that we adopt the recommendations with the changes that were recommended by the ACIP and then modified as appropriate by the work group.
Do I have a second? Dr. Vasquez? Any further discussion? If not, and taking the advice of virtually the unanimous voting membership of ACIP, we'll start with Dr. Bennett and go to her right.
Thank you for acknowledging our disability. Bennett, yes.
Pellegrini, yes.
Campus Alcohol, yes.
Harrison, yes.
Vasquez, yes.
Coyne Beasley, yes.
Rubin, yes.
Jenkins, yes.
Harriman, yes.
Bocchini, yes.
Reingold, yes.
Duchin, yes.
Kemp, yes.
Karen, yes.
And Tempte, yes. The motion is approved. And thank you very much to the Child and Adolescent Working Group for a very succinct presentation.
Thank you.